As our story progresses, the nuclear doomsday scenario of end of the world becomes increasingly realistic. However, those who orchestrate such disasters won't be destroyed, as there are specialized doomsday aircraft for such occasions. These aircraft not only allow survival in the air, but also enable commanding entire armies through satellite communication. You might wonder how many of these apocalypse riders exist in the world. Can they realistically protect their passengers? And more importantly, can ordinary people rely on such aerial shelter? You will soon find out the answers. The topic of nuclear war is increasingly being raised by the global elite, and one must be prepared for such a turn of events. This is exactly what aircraft designers of advanced nations thought, and they created true flying fortresses. These airliners are equipped for aerial refueling from tanker aircraft. With periodic refueling, they can stay in the air for a week or even longer. This time should be enough to survive the most dangerous moments or fly a considerable distance away. The total duty time of such an airliner in the air is only limited by the condition of the oil in the engines. Unfortunately, it's impossible to change it during flight. Of course, not every country has such doomsday apparatus, and many governments are diligently developing their own aerial fortresses, especially against the backdrop of recent global events. But let's talk about those that exist right now. Let's start with the American Boeing E-4B Nightwatch. This beauty served as the beginning for the so-called end-of-the-world aircraft. They are designed to protect the President, the Secretary of Defense, and other top military leaders of the United States in the event of a nuclear war, when all ground control structures are destroyed or at least damaged. Another name for these types of aircraft, Airborne Command Post, fully reflects the essence of these flying machines. And Boeing was chosen for this honorable role not without reason. It turned out to be large, or rather huge. Its working area covers 430 square meters. You can already imagine approximately how many people can fit inside such a giant. As for the specific E-4 model, initially 4 such aircraft were created and later modified to become the E-4B. It differs from its standard version primarily in improved protection against alpha, beta, and gamma radiation, reinforced equipment, and a larger fairing in which satellite communication antennas are located. According to data from closed sources, Nightwatch can stay in the air for a whole week, of course, provided that it is refueled. To completely replenish the fuel reserves in its huge tanks, E-4B requires as many as 2 KC-135 tanker aircraft. Of course, in the conditions of nuclear war, no one can guarantee even a single refueling. To maximize this possibility, such tankers are stationed at almost all airfields in the country and are always fully ready for takeoff. Formally, the time spent in the air is only limited by the service life of the oil in the engines. The design of the aircraft itself is also very interesting. Almost all internal spaces had to be significantly modified to achieve maximum protection. For example, the upper deck was moved to the front and the crew room was raised up. The latter includes 4 workstations for the commander, engineer, and others. And if anyone gets tired, they can use the sleeping quarters located behind. Below the crew room is the middle deck for passengers, which is the largest area of the aircraft. So how many people can be in such a protected fortress? Taking into account that part of the area is occupied by equipment, up to 144 people can fit inside. And they all need to be fed. For this purpose, there is a kitchen in the front where stoves and refrigerators are installed to store food supplies, so the staff will not go hungry even during long flights. As you can see, enough care has been taken for comfort in the Doomsday plane. Following the front zone is the NCA zone, which serves as the workspace and rest area for the President of the United States, the Secretary of Defense, or individuals who will replace them as required by law. It includes a work area, rest area, sleeping quarters, and dressing room. Reliable and secure communication has also been taken care of, with powerful telephone equipment installed, so the President will always be able to contact any management structures and heads of other states. A conference room is also provided, where emergency meetings can be held with images projected on the projector. And if it gets really boring, you can even watch some entertaining movies. Immediately behind this room is the operational reaction workstation area. As I mentioned earlier, the aircraft simultaneously serves as an aviation command post. Therefore, everything is provided here for military command as well, minus 29 workstations, data processing and transmission equipment, onboard computers, and everything else that may be needed. Special equipment provides access to telephone and radio voice channels and direct lines. And there is also sound recording equipment. But that's not all. The main feature of the Boeing E-4B is the area with space communication equipment, which replaces the Pentagon's command post. Imagine, directly from here, you can command the entire U.S. Army. This airliner is much more dangerous in its essence than any fighter jet, yet it doesn't even have any weapons. However, America is far from the first country to create Doomsday airliners. The USR had a large number of aircraft with similar functions. Already in 1971, the IL-22 was released, which was repeatedly modified and improved, but I won't dwell on it. After all, initially, this aircraft was intended for simple military transport. The first real airborne command post was the IL-80. Its main feature was the ability to maintain communication with the Army at a distance twice the size of the entire Russia. Of course, this is not space communication, but it's also good. Externally, this aircraft can be recognized by its characteristic hump on top. Conceptually, it is very close to the E-4B, not only externally. Initially, it was developed for the evacuation of the country's top military leadership, while maintaining the ability to simultaneously command the armed forces. This also applies to nuclear conflict. Naturally, the machine has everything necessary for the people on board to feel safe and relatively comfortable. Unfortunately, it is impossible to specify the exact characteristics of the IL-80 due to its secrecy. Russian aircraft designers do not like to disclose all the nuances. However, we've managed to find some details. First of all, the IL-80 stands out for its extraordinary reliability, since the probability of equipment failures is tens of times lower than that of other military aircraft. This is because the strongest and most durable parts are used for its assembly. The area of the aircraft is approximately the same as that of the American E-4B. There is a slight difference in range and speed, with Boeing winning in both cases. But Russia is not going to lag behind, and is developing new airborne command posts. They will be created based on the Il-96-400M airliner. It is much larger and more capacious than the previous version, and in technical terms, it surpasses its younger brother in all parameters. Such a giant will be able to communicate with strategic aviation, mobile and shaft installations, and even submarines. All this at a distance of 36 million square kilometers, which is twice the area of Russia. Compared to its predecessor, the range of the IL-96 will increase by a whopping 2 times. Only parts and equipment of domestic production will be used in creating the new aircraft, which the designers are very proud of. America also understands that their flying fortresses are no longer young and will soon require replacement as well. In 2018, the Pentagon announced the modernization of the Boeing E-4B. The main task is to update all the equipment, improve software, install new national communication systems, communication with nuclear forces, and overall everything that exists on the aircraft. Starting from 2021, at least $100 million is allocated to the modernization program. And according to recent data, this figure has significantly increased due to recent global events. We sincerely hope that the use of such aircraft will never become relevant in reality and let them take off only during military parades. However, it's interesting to think about what will happen if they both encounter each other in the same airspace. And that's the end of this video. You can support the channel by liking the video if you enjoyed it. You can also leave a comment with your opinion on what you saw. We really enjoy reading what you write to us. Thank you for watching, and see you soon.